Welcome everybody, hello, it's a pleasure to be here. As Darren mentioned, my name is Hans Schumann and I'm a life coach. Before I get started, I want to ask you 3 deeply profound questions. Because that's what we life coaches do. We ask deeply profound questions that help our clients to get insights and breakthroughs and transformations in their lives. So here's deeply profound question number 1. Who in this room would like to have more sex in their life? Please raise your arms.
About some sex.
It seems to be mainly the women. The others are either too shy, or they are really lucky bastards, or they have their partner standing next to them, which is okay. Right, deeply profound question number 1. Who of you would like to find their soulmate? The one and only. The shiny knight in the armor. Who would? Yes, yeah? Oh, there are a few more here on this side. The other ones are getting kicked in the side by their partners, not allowed to raise their arm. That's fine. And question number 3. Who of you thinks that if you find your soulmate and you get all the sex that you want, and ideally with that soulmate, who thinks this will be enough to make you happy and fulfilled?
It's not all about sex.
Okay, not quite sure about that one. I mean, that's what we're all after, isn't it? Having lots of sex and finding that soulmate. I mean, I'm stereotyping here, but actually that was quite a bit my life. But have you ever been in a situation where you get what you want and you still feel a sense of dissatisfaction? I mean, you may have that job, you may have that home, you may have the boyfriend and the sex, and you still feel something is missing. And you can't really put your finger on it. Quite of my clients are like this. They come with me with goals, but there's a deeper dissatisfaction which they can't quite define. So how much would you like to find out what you value more, even more than having all the sex and the soulmate? Because this is what I'm going to talk to you about. How you can find out what the missing link is to get you the sense of fulfillment. Here's what I believe. I believe that to live a fulfilled life, we need to find out what matters to us most in life. What is our highest personal value. And then we need to design a life around those values that helps us to express them as much as possible. So what do I mean? What are values? Lots of people have different ideas what values are. And I don't mean things like abstract things like love or honesty or integrity. They are nice things, but you can't really do anything with it. When I talk about our highest personal value, I'm talking about the things that we love doing most in life. The things that when we do them, we get energized, we get inspired, time flies, we are in a flow. And they will be very different for each of us. For some it may be building a business, creating a family, traveling, cooking, teaching, researching, all sorts of things. And of all the things that we value in life, there are differences in terms of priority. For example, most of you probably value health. Would you agree to that? You value health? But then there are some of us who smoke or who don't eat healthily. So what it means is, yes, health is a value in their life, but there's something else that they actually value more in that moment. And it's quite good to get clarity about that. Another example, most people say they value wealth. But actually, if you look at their life, they value spending much more than wealth. They're much more, because otherwise they would invest and save. So this is really interesting how values work for us. And the question is for each of us, what is this thing at the very top that determines how we want to live our life? And that determines how we can live our life fulfilled. And before I get this, let me tell you what happens is if we don't know what our highest personal values are. Because what can happen if we don't know what we value most, we can end up living the values of other people. And that's scary. For example, it could be the values of our parents, of our school, of the gay media, of media generally, of religion. I'm not saying that these things are necessarily bad, It's okay if we agree with those values. But the problem arises if we live those values, but deep inside us we actually want something different. And can you imagine how it feels like if you live a life according to somebody else's values? It feels really heavy. It can be a drag. It can suck all the energy out of you. It can even make you sick or depressed. And I know because I have been one of those people who lived the values of others. And it made me very sick. In fact, that I'm standing here today is an absolute miracle for me. Because 3 years ago, my life was rock bottom. And I never thought I would participate in normal life again. Let me tell you what happened with me, because I wouldn't want any one of you to go through something similar. I became a lawyer in financial services, combining the two most hated professions in society. I mean, why would I do that? I did it because I did not know what else to do. I didn't know what my highest personal value was. So by default, I adopted the values of my father and my sister who were lawyers. And I ended up in a job which I thought, yeah, intellectually stimulating and great salary. But you know, for me personally, it didn't inspire me. And I did it for 20 years. And when you do something for 20 years that doesn't really inspire you, it burns you out. And I did something similar as a gay man. When I had my coming out, I didn't really know what it would be like to live as a gay man. I didn't know by what values I wanted to live as a gay man. So again, what I did is I adopted the values that I perceived around me. The values from the gay scene, from the gay media, from gay people that I knew. And they were mostly about sex, clubs, bars, and drugs. And I'm not saying this is all what being gay is about, but it's what I perceived at that time. I'm also not condemning any of these things, but for me, again, personally, it wasn't enough to give me a sense of fulfillment. It was fun at the beginning, but then became quite repetitive or even compulsive. Have you ever been in a situation where you keep doing the same thing just out of routine, although you know it doesn't really fulfill you, and you're chasing the same thing every weekend? Maybe it's the man, the sex, the soulmate, the next high on the drug, and it just doesn't actually work for you anymore. So that was my life. I burned the candle at both ends. In my job, my high-performance job, that really stressed me out and that didn't inspire me, I lost all my energy. And in my pastime, rather than seeking recovery, nurture for myself, I also occupied myself in non-inspiring activities and numbing myself with things like alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, sex, you name it, food. We have so many addictions that we use to numb ourselves, to cover up all these emotions that actually give us quite valuable information. So my body didn't like that at all. And the good thing is, our body gives us warning signs. And they came, in my case, in the shape of lack of energy and mild depression. But I didn't listen to the warning signs. And if you don't listen to the warning signs, you get bigger ones and even bigger ones, until you get the absolute hammer treatment. That this gives you no choice but to change. And in my case, the hammer treatment came in the shape of a medical disease. Inflammatory bowel disease. Doesn't sound like much, but I can tell you it can be pretty nasty. It certainly was in my case. I had a very serious case. I don't have the time to give you all the details, but just to give you the bullets, I was ill for 2 years. 14 months of those 2 years, I was unable to work. I was at home, having fever and nausea every day. I didn't know how to drink, and sometimes I didn't know how to eat. Actually, the other one, I didn't know how to eat, and sometimes I didn't know how to drink. I lost 20 kilos, a quarter of what you see here, and my life was pretty miserable. At my worst times, even my legs got inflamed, and for a month I could only crawl across the floor. All medical treatments failed, all experimental treatments. I tried diets, you name it, everything, alternative treatments. And the doctors had only one thing left to propose to me, and that was to remove my colon. Well, that's when I woke up. Because I was still quite a vain gay man, and removing your colon, I don't know whether you know that, would mean having a stool bag hanging from your belly, which isn't too great for dating. So I finally woke up and had an epiphany. And that's a story in itself. And I can't go into much detail here. But I realized that to get healthy, I first had to change the state of my mind. I realized that for the healing to take place, I needed to remove all the mental barriers that prevented me from healing. So what I did is, I shifted my focus from disease and misery to health through meditations and visualizations. I created new dreams and visions for my life to have something to get healthier for again. And most importantly, and this is what my talk is about, I found out what I valued most in life. And I did this through the help of a life coach. And he helped me realizing that my highest personal value was personal growth. And then I looked at my life and realized, oh my God, I had put myself in a situation where I couldn't grow. I was stuck in this golden cage in the bank I worked, where I felt unfulfilled, but I kind of thought I can't change, would be mad to leave the salary behind. And in my pastime, I numbed myself with uninspiring activities again. And certainly if you take drugs, you can't grow, at least not if you take them regularly. So I knew what I had to do. I got rid of my addictions, or most of them, and I got rid of the job. And that suddenly became very easy. I mean, have you ever been in a job where you thought, well, actually, I would like to leave, but the salary is so nice, you've got the job security, and what could I possibly do? And I had all these thoughts, because it was a really nice salary, but it became very easy at the point when I had found out something that I valued even more than the golden cage. And for me, that was a job that allowed me to express my highest personal value of personal growth each and every day. And that is life coaching for me. I'm in complete remission now. My doctor is very surprised. And every day now feels fresh and inspiring again, because I can work on my own development and I can help my clients to create similar transformations in their life. And that feels inspiring and rewarding. So back to you. I wonder whether you're now intrigued to find out what your highest values are, the values that trump everything else in your life, even more than the sex and the soulmate that we talked about at the beginning. Well, if you're interested in finding out, then there's something to give to you, and it doesn't cost you a penny. I have a questionnaire that you can complete in your own time and on your own, and it helps you finding out exactly that, what you value most in your life. It's real fun to do this and really useful to have that information. And if you're interested in receiving the questionnaire, there is a sign-up sheet on the table over there, and you can leave your contact details. And you can also tick if you would like to be on my mailing list, or if you would like to receive a call to discuss what's going on in your life and whether there's anything we can do together through one of my coaching programs. But if you only do the one thing, then I really encourage you to do the questionnaire, because I believe that finding out what we value most in our lives can be one of the most important things for us that we do. It gives us a compass for our life, something that helps us making decisions and designing a fulfilled life. It's like getting a blueprint for our life. And if you know your values, you can master your life. Thank you very much. If you would like to talk to me, I will be around for the rest of the evening. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for your attention.